Hello everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by today. In today's video, I'm going to do a tutorial on how I made this folio. About a little over a year ago, I made another folio, and I did a flip through of that, and it was all done in Tim Holtz paper pad. This one is also. I was asked to do a tutorial at that time, which I did over the course of 3 separate videos. And I did it in a Christmas theme, and it has recently come up again and have been asked to do another tutorial. This folio is slightly different than that one, but we'll go through how I made it. How I made the basic folio itself, not how I decorated it or anything else. So right now, let's do a quick flip through. It is tied with sari silk. It is not attached. The spine is covered in a lacy kind of trim. It's just glued to the top and the bottom. This elastic thread is what's holding the signature in, and that just covers that up. On the front is a pocket that I made with dictionary paper and added a sticker and a Tim Holtz paper doll here, some crocheted lace. This is a vintage floral illustration that I had, and I just put lined notebook paper on the back and stitched around. The pocket is just attached on 3 sides, and then I have another journal card here with a little charm on the tab. Okay, when you open it up, there's a pocket here on the side that holds a notebook, just some coffee dyed lined paper, notebook paper. And it's decorated with the Tim Holtz doll and some labels and a sentiment with a sticker, and I put little gemstones in her daisy hairband that she has on. You open this up again. There's a pocket tuck here on the side. And a tag. Another tag. A journaling card here. And this is a little notepad. This was actually made by Artie Mays. It was a part of a D-Stash bundle that I purchased from her. I love her work. It's so cute. Okay. I added some lace trim here along the side with some bling up there. This is a window envelope that I attached. On the back of the envelope is a pocket with a porthole with some acetate in it. There's nothing in the pocket. The recipient can use the pocket for whatever. There's a sticker here, and this is another little Artie Mays gem. It's a hidden paper clip, and I just have that attached here on the side. This pocket is made out of vintage ledger paper from the 1940s. The pocket itself is covered in Tim Holtz paper, and there's a mushroom sticker here. And there's a tag with another Tim Holtz paper doll and some labels. And the inside of the envelope is covered so that when you take the tab out, you can see a pretty background. Okay, so here in the middle, there's a flap closure that just turns around like that. On the top of the flap, I have some more of that vintage ledger paper and another circle cut out. You just open this up and you have some journaling space here. You have some more paper dolls here with some labels. And this is just a piece of the decorative paper cut out and I added a gemstone just so that you can close that up. You open this up and you have 2 tags and a little side tuck. And then here, some more goodies. It's another tag with some lace trim on the top. This one as well. A journaling card. Another tag. And I had a lot of scraps left over from some other projects, and most of these tags were cut from those scraps, trying to get them used up. This card has a little gem on the side. Okay. This just turns up. Here I have a piece of cheese, some cheesecloth, and some more labels down on the bottom to decorate. This is the journal, the signature. It is undecorated. This is from a 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that I coffee dyed and cut down to size. This is a page from a early 1900s math book. Some coffee dyed paper. Some vintage music paper. Coffee paper. Some of that old ledger paper. And some graph paper. And here is more of the scrapbook paper that was coffee dyed. This is really thin scrapbook paper, so it works well on a signature. This is some old vintage page from something I don't know what any of that means. Here's an old ticket for a repair order. Some more scrapbook paper that's been coffee dyed. That's the center of the signature. The other part of that order ticket. So there's 11 pages as all, or 44 pages front and back. And can be decorated any way you wish. Okay. So on this side, open this up and we have another envelope, a fairly large envelope, but I had to cut it down to size so it would fit within the parameters of the folio. It had a large window on it. I covered it in more paper and stitched around 3 sides and added a sticker here. There's a top loading. It's top loading, so there's another large tag in there, and I cut it so that the bird would show through the window and cover the inside of the envelope. Okay, flip it over and there's a belly band here. Here's another little goodie from Artie Mays. It's a resin dangle with some beads on a paper clip. And this is just a scrap piece of card that I tucked in. Here's another envelope with a long window. It has a tag inside. Again, the back of the envelope is covered. Flip this open and there's a little circle tuck on the back side with some more tags. And this was something that you will not see in the tutorial itself. I added that afterwards. I've got a little sticker here. It looks like metal, and it's a key with some little tinsel glued under it. And 2 tags. And here is a candy envelope that came from Walmart that had this little circle window in it. And I did some splatter stamping on it. There's another little metallic looking butterfly sticker. Some labels and some lace trim and bling. And there's a tag inside. bag. And then in the back, I only glued it down on 3 sides, so I had another space for another tag. Okay. And here on this side, we have a little pocket. The tag there. And a coffee dyed gas jet. Okay, and we flip this over and we have another pocket. And here we just have some vintage music paper and some bling and a couple of labels. And then 3 journaling cards inside the pocket. Okay. And then it falls off like that. That's the back. So now we're going to walk through how I made just the base of the folio. The decorating you can do on your own. You've seen what I've done, and you can certainly draw inspiration from that. So let me get set up for that, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, before this tutorial starts, I just wanted to jump in here and apologize in advance for the portions of this video that were not in frame. In most cases, I think it's pretty obvious what is happening, but at others, it may not be. And I think this would be very important to beginners to be able to see every detail. I personally find it very irritating to watch a video where this is happening, so I completely understand any frustration it causes. Thank you anyway for your patience as I strive to improve, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, we're going to make our folio, and we need to start out with just a regular file folder. It has been coffee dyed. Not necessary, but I just think it looks better if you do. And in the file folders, there is already some score lines in there for your spine. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide. We're going to reinforce this other one. And we're going to cut it off so that it is 9 inches tall, and you end up with a file folder that looks like that. So here's the original. And after you cut it off, this is what you end up with. Okay? From the file folder folded like this, we reinforced this other score line that was already in the file folder. And from there, we're going to measure over 5.5 inches, and we're going to score. If you have a scoreboard, that's great. You can also use a ruler. You just take your ruler, line it up where you want your score line, and then take a tool like this and then just go down a couple of times. Be careful, because a file folder will tear if you're not careful. And from there, you want to measure over another 1/4 of an inch and score again. Okay? And from this score line over, we're going to do the same, 5.5 inches, score a line, 1/4 of an inch, score another line. So you have a little tiny spine right there. Okay? File folders are fairly thick, but over time they can tear. So I reinforce my spines on the outside with sports tape, medical tape. It's made of fabric, and it takes ink really well. And I've already gone ahead and done that ahead of time and inked all the way around the folder on the outside and the inside. Okay, so we're going to start over here on the left hand side. Actually, I think I'm going to start on the outside by putting the covers on. What I am using is Tim Holtz Paper Stash Paper Pack. They're hard to find anymore, but if you are lucky enough to find one, get it. This is really good quality paper. If you're using paper from another paper pad that the paper is very thin, you're going to have to take all of your decorative papers and attach them to card or to another piece of scrap file folder. Okay, so here are the pieces that I have cut for the front, the back, and the spine area. Okay, and I've already inked around all of the pieces. So let's go ahead and get these glued down. And I'm going to be using Fabri-Tac glue to do this with. You want to make sure that you get really good amounts of glue to the edges because you don't want this to lift up later. And another option could be that you sew around these pieces, but I'm not going to do that. And I like to leave a little bit of a border around the paper. Okay. And so this is not going to interfere with those fold lines. All right. Get that pressed down really good. And then this piece goes on the spine. So you have one side of the folio is going to have a wider flap, and you want to keep this one to your left, and that's how we'll build the rest of the folio. I think the other folio that I did a little over a year ago was the opposite. I had the wide flap over here, but it doesn't really matter. And also, I didn't mention that I cut this, I think I did, at 9 inches. All right, so here's a piece of paper that we are going to put here, and all I did was take a piece of decorative paper, whatever side that I wanted showing, I put that face down and traced around the flap and then cut it out. So let's go ahead and get that inked down. So the next piece is I'm going to cut another piece of file folder that is, I believe it's 5.5 inches wide. Yes, 5.5 inches wide by 9 inches tall. And on the right hand side, you're going to score a line 1/2 inch, and this is going to be our hinge, and that will go here and open up like this. Okay. And on this hinge, on this flap, we're going to put a piece of decorative glue that down and attach a pocket, just like that. Okay. And then on top of that is another flap made with an envelope. And we'll take some time kind of going through that, but that will also go down here and flip open this way. And there'll be an opening in the top for a nice long tag. All right, so let's do this piece first. turn this over on the back and put this paper down. Like I said, all of these have been inked ahead of time so that you don't have to watch me do that part. Now, I'm not giving the measurements for these because everybody's measurements are going to be a little bit different. Like I said, if you want to cut your paper to go all the way out to the edges, your measurements would be different than mine. But this looks like 4 3/4 inches wide by 8 3/4 inches tall. Okay. Remember, our flap needs to stay over here. And look at that. I put my paper on upside down. Oh, Lord. Let's see if I can get it off and do that. Have a do-over. One of the things that you have to be careful of, and I'll probably make the mistake as I'm putting this together, but anywhere you have a hinge like this, you want to place it at a point in time where you know it's going to get covered up later with another piece of paper, because we really don't want those to show. I mean, they can, but personally, I don't like them showing. Oh. Yeah, straighter. I mean, I think we got it right now. So this pocket can be cut. This was a piece of scrap that was already cut, so I didn't really need to do anything else with it. But you can cut this to go all the way to the top, but it shouldn't be any wider than your other piece of paper. This is upside down, but I'm going to cover this. This is the only part right here, this text, that kind of makes it look upside down, but it was a piece of scrap, and I'm trying to use up my scrap, so we're going to go with it. Okay, so just to give you the measurements of mine, it is 8 inches tall by 4 3/4 inches wide, and this little part right here is about 1 3/4 inches. So we're going to glue down this side and down this side. Okay. And we will be probably going to glue these two sides down so we have a nice pocket right there. So there won't be any need to cover this piece because it's not going to show. All right. Now we're going to do the envelope so that we can attach the flap or the hinge on the envelope to the hinge on this. Move this up. Now there are lots. This is my envelope. I cut it across the top and the bottom, and I cut it down to an 8 1/4 inches. I personally do not I like, let me back up. I like one piece when I'm using these envelopes with these windows in them. I like one piece of paper. So it's a little tricky to get it cut. Piece is bigger than what I need, and we can just trim that down. But what I use is a die cut that actually is a tiny bit smaller than the size of this window. And then I run it through my Big Shot and cut a hole in it, and there you go. You got one piece to cover the whole thing. Other things that you can do would be to collage around the envelope, and I've seen a lot of people do that, and that's fine too. You can use a light box. You could put your paper on the back and then score around the envelope to make an impression, and then cut out the impression. All right. So I have inked around my window. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down and then trim. Right? Now we don't want to look at this ugly inside of the envelope. So here's another piece of scrap that I had, and I cut this to cover the back or the inside of the envelope, plus another 1/2 inch for a hinge. So this measures about 4.5 inches, a little over 4.5 inches by 8.25. All right, so that's going to go in there, and then this will go over the edge. I see how that paper is cracking. I'm probably going to put a little bit of tape on here just to be safe. So get you some washi tape that you don't like. Run it through a glue stick. And just center it right over that crease. Give it a good press and then trim these pieces off. All right, and then we're going to glue that down, and then you have something pretty to look at. All right. So now all we have left to do is to put a piece of paper here on the back. Again, this is another piece of scrap. I need to trim this just ever so. I want to be careful because I don't want to cut the envelope. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Get the trusty craft knife and just get that little sliver of paper off of there. Oop. And of course, I ripped the envelope. But no worries. We're going to fix that. Nobody's going to see what's going on in here, so we're just going to put another piece of washi tape on there. So I just showed you what not to do. Okay. This, I believe, is a little bit too wide, so I'm going to trim a tiny bit of that off. Looks like about a 1/16 of an inch. Come on, get in there. Let's see if that works a little bit better. That's good, and that's good. Okay. Didn't look like I inked this one up, so real quick. Oh, and I'm using scorched timber throughout this entire folio. Get that glued down. And these papers are going to have to be cut to fit your particular envelope. Yours may be different than mine. Okay. Get it, press it down really good. Like I said, I am going to stitch this. So any glued pieces or pieces that didn't get glued will get caught up in there. All right. Since I cut that envelope, we're going to re-ink this side. Don't want any of that white showing. Okay, and so I did put a piece of washi tape along the top here just because there wasn't much envelope left, and I wanted to reinforce that because this is a pocket and it'll be a top loading pocket. So what I'm going to do is go sew around this window and around these two sides, and then our envelope will be ready. All right, be back right back. Okay, so here's our pocket. I stitched all the way around the window and around three sides. So we have a nice strong pocket, and our tag will, whatever we make for a tag will show through the window and it'll look really nice. So this needs to be now attached here. Okay. And it's actually going to sit right here, just to the left of this score line here. Okay. So let's go ahead. It'll need to sit for a little bit while it dries. And see, then this opens up like that, and you have a pocket here. You could put another pocket here. I'll think about that. But for right now, let's go ahead and get these two pieces glued together. I'm going to center this as best I can. Make sure. I'll just put a couple of clamps on this while it dries. Okay, and while that dries, we will go ahead and work on this next section. All right. For here, we're going to have a couple of little things going on. So we have a flap that will attach here. And then we will have some decorative paper on the front. But before we attach that down, let's see, let me back up. I have a piece of paper there, piece of paper here, and since this flaps up, you want to make sure whatever paper you have, if it's directional, that it's right way up when you open up the flap. Okay, and then there is a pocket that goes down here. Okay, and it'll have a little closure right there. All right, so this will have a piece of decorative paper too, but we've got to attach some of these other pieces before we get there. So let's concentrate on this flap right here. And it doesn't look like it either. So much for prepping in advance. All right, so this is our front piece. I'll get that off later. And get this pressed down really good. See if you need to trim anything. tiny little bit. Okay, so now this attaches to the top, and so we want this piece of paper to be right way up. Okay, but before I glue that down, we have another little piece that goes on here that has a hinge. So we want to get that glued down so we will cover up the hinge when we put the paper on the back. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then this is just another little flip, and even has some lines that you can write on for journaling. All right, so let me get that glued down. What is that? Okay, and that'll just open up. Now, one thing we can do, and I may do that, is to put a little closure on there so that will stay down. Let's see. This is my bowl of scraps. I'm sure we can find something. Let me cut out this little piece right here. I think I'll just glue this to the back and just have it double-sided. And ink around the edges. All right, and I'm going to put this right just glue this bottom half right here. Heck on it, I put glue on the wrong side. Unbelievable. It look like the center. Okay. All right, so let's get this turned over. This is good and stuck down, so it's okay now to put this on. Okay. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to add a little tuck, side tuck here that we can put something in. Okay. See which side. Like that side. All right. And now this is ready to attach to the top. Okay. And then we can put this on and then put this on. But we also had to attach a closer to that. All right. Let me go ahead and glue that down. Okay, let's check and make sure that that can fold up good. And then we're good on both sides. Oops. Good. Good. Now before we put this pocket down, we need to attach a closure. And this will just swing up onto the bottom of there and keep the top flap closed. So that looks like it's right about in the middle. We just want to punch a little hole right through the closure and the pocket. All right, and this is just a scrap piece of card that I cut these little teardrops out on my Cricut. I think they're kind of cute. All right, we're going to put the brad in. Whoops. And open up the little legs. And then just cover that with a little piece of tape. So nothing will get hung on it when you put things in the pocket. All right. Now we can go ahead and glue the pocket down. And make sure you don't glue the little gussets down. Okay. And then this will just go up and close that like that. Okay. It's cool. All right. The next thing would be the little spine covering, and I'm pretty sure I cut something. Yeah, here it is. Cut this piece. That's sitting there like that. Again, you want to make sure you got plenty of clearance here. All right, this should be dry enough to work with now. I'll go back here to the beginning, and we are going to attach this right here. And there's a lot of material here, so might have to be a little forceful with it. And we want to again put it to the left of that little fold line right there. Okay. Make sure that still works. Yep. Now I am going to put some clips on this while it dries. And then we can glue this to this. All right, while that's drying, let's go over here and work on this part. Now this part is a lot of fun. I've got two envelopes here. They are going to open like this, and then we'll have this fun little candy bag here on the base, right? But we can't put this down until we get the envelopes fixed up and attached to this side. So we'll put that away for now, and we'll start working on this envelope. So this envelope has a huge window in it. You don't have to have a huge window. Work with whatever you've got. Again, I used a die cut to cut out the hole. I actually had to cut one portion and then cut the bottom half so that it would be a big enough hole to cover this up. All right, this, let's see if I can get this straight. This big envelope, which is a little bit wider than the other one, is going to hinge on this side, okay? So this paper is going to go on the inside like this. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And then that's what you see through the window. I'm sorry, I was probably out of camera. All right. And then this piece, we're going to put down here. And it is oversized, but I'd rather have it oversized and be able to trim it than not. So let me go ahead and glue around. I'm going to glue around the envelope. And so now your envelope is covered. Isn't that pretty? All right, so I'm going to, oops, forgot to cover the back. Okay, so I've sewn around the window and around these three sides, and now we can attach it here. Okay. Again, make sure you got enough clearance there so this can fold good. Carefully open this up. And we'll let that dry while we work on the other envelope. So it's basically the same thing. I told you I would tell you how wide this envelope is. So it finishes at 5, 1, 2, 3/8. And looks like right at 8 3/4. Or just under 8 3/4. Okay. And then we'll have to make a nice big tag to put in there. All right. So this envelope has a nice long window. Again, you don't have to have one that looks just like this. This is just shy of 4 1/4 wide and about 8. I'm having trouble reading this rule. Let me get my big one. So this one is roughly 8.5 inches long. Okay. This is going to hinge right here. Okay. So that will go and sit here. So we'll go ahead and glue that down. This paper cracked. It didn't fold real well either. I don't know why. But I put some washi tape on the inside so it's not going to fall apart. So let's get this piece glued down. Again, I've made this a little bit oversized so that I could trim it out. I cut this window out quite a bit smaller than this window is in the envelope. And I put washi tape at the top and the bottom since there was not much paper on either end, just to reinforce it. All right, and let's set this down. All right, everything is sewn. Nice little opening in the top, and then we'll go ahead and we'll glue this down right here. Okay. Got quite a mess. There is still some more of that white showing. That's better. Right. And then making sure I have enough clearance from this score line right here. Okay. So that's what that will look like. All right, now we'll put this part down here. Okay. Just make sure everything. And you have this little bag. We'll put this right here. I don't know that I'm going to decorate it. I like the plain craft color, and then whatever, we'll make a tag or something to put in there that'll peek right through that window. But I am going to ink this bag. And then I won't glue up here, and this will be another place to put something. All right, we'll glue that down on these 3 sides. Burnish that. That's the one that didn't fold right for me. All right. Now we're going to put this piece right here. And this piece right here. Okay. And this little pocket will go here. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll first glue this part down right here. Turn this over. So we're going to put some glue here, down through here, and right here, and then just lay this down on it, okay? Again, make sure that you're giving this fold line right here enough clearance so it can do its job. Okay. Let's see, then you have a nice pocket there. All right, let's put this down right here. Okay, and so that is the base. Oop, we've got to glue this. Okay, and our signature will go here. I will put 2 holes, one at the top, one at the bottom, and run some elastic string through there so that the signature can come in and out. But that is the base. I hope that was easy to follow along, but certainly if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. The next thing that needs to be done now is to put some decorations and some tags and journaling cards and so forth throughout. Okay? Okay, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope that you will give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if there's any questions about anything that you saw during the video, just leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.